genius who studied water and learned from water, and he was an Austrian fourth generation Austrian forester, and he is really the Nikola Tesla of water. If you've heard of Nikola Tesla, he basically created the 20th century from an electrical point of view, even though he's considered of secondary importance in terms of inventiveness. He invented 280 patents. He invented the AC motor. Okay, AC motor is what powers the world, not direct current. You know, all those lines coming in here, they're all electric alternating current. And but Tesla was a wizard. So I'm saying Victor Schauberger was his equivalent in water terms. With the stuff he invented. He used to walk through the forestry he was in charge of a forestry that was controlled by a member of royalty, and it was in pristine condition. So he would walk around his forestry and observe the fish swimming up the sea and observe how they were able to do it, you know. Because strictly speaking, you shouldn't be able to do it, you know. And it was him that devised an understanding of water. And the people like Victor Schauberger, you know, they're the real heroes. You know, they actually started developing anti-gravity technology using water, and it was confiscated by the Nazis, you know, because he was Austrian, you know. So a pretty brilliant man.
I think he won some competition to get logs down off the mountains using the power of water.
Down there, and early 1900s, when there was no automation, he devised a plume, I think they call it. Mm-hmm. And he basically had to be engineered in a certain geometrical fashion, but basically they were able to take logs of timber, because there's no other way of bringing it down really unless by horse. And they were able to send thousands of logs down this plume, which was in water sitting in it, and made the owner, that member of royalty that I'm talking about, made him very wealthy, you know.
I think he had invented a flying saucer as well.
Yeah, and Nikola Tesla did too. I'll talk about that the next time.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably is it wrapping up a bit and explain. I'm sure the nervousness of all maybe as talking freely, maybe public, or maybe anyone have any particular vision. I know you touched on German medicine.
Yeah, I followed the German new medicine. Yeah. Do you want me to say something about that? Okay, well, I have a serious health problem here. I've had prostate cancer, and I have a right leg here that's kind of given up on me, you know. But I do follow German new medicine, and I believe German new medicine may well be the most important medical discovery in the history of medicine. And it was devised by Dr. Reich Dietz Hammer, a German doctor who died about 3 years ago. And he basically propounded the idea that most, or not, the vast majority of diseases are caused by trauma that an individual suffers as they go through life. And the mind and the body are interrelated. Now, apparently, if you believe what they say, you get a 95% success rate. And all cancers, and I've had prostate cancer, it's not causing any problems, but it hasn't gone away, you know. But I'm just saying, cancers are all caused by trauma. As far as I can see, I've read 4 books in it, and you have to resolve the issue that caused the cancer, okay, in your life, okay. And if it's breast cancer for a woman, it's related to a child or a family conflict. And if it's on the left breast, it's one way, and if it's on the right breast, it's another way. And it's all, if you go on to learning GNM, that's German New Medicine, the website, it will teach you the 5 biological laws. You know, it's fascinating stuff. I know there are other alternative speakers in medicine, and you know, all insist that they have discovered, but I noticed there's a similarity between Dr. Hammer's work and that of Brandon Bayes of the Journey, I think they call it. I don't know if anyone heard of Brandon Bayes, an American lady, but she had cancer tumor, and she basically used neuro-linguistic programming, and she got the cancer down. She was told going to die within a few days, and it's very similar. If you read between the lines, except Dr. Arnold is much more technical, you know. But the essence is that you have to find what's causing the issue in your life. In my case, I haven't addressed the issue. That's why my leg problem continues, you know. And the body starts to heal itself once you resolve the issue. Learning GNM is called.
People might not always be aware of what the problem is.
And if you take the example of allopathic medicine, which is mainstream medicine, if they detect cancerous growth, they will they say radiation chemo or surgery radiation chemo, you know, not Billy, it's Jack, you know, and they wanted me to use radiation, but I never went for it, you know, because the lump wasn't grown, like, you know. I took that decision.
Sorry, what you say that was learning GNM or what?
Learning GNM. Yeah. 5 biological laws. I advise anyone to learn the 5 biological laws, and you know, you won't get your head around it the first time. But if you follow Richard E. Hall, I do follow Richard E. Hall, the UK alternative researcher. He has an excellent interview with an English couple there. And in 4 videos, they go through the whole thing. Anyone else question? You don't like to hear it? Comment or?
I was going to say, if any Southwood cars, they have a river at the back and running electricity off there.
Hydroelectric.
Don't see that.
Interesting thing, the hydroelectric, I followed the work of Nikola Tesla. Tesla, you know, he came up with the idea of using Niagara Falls as a hydroelectric force for the town of Buffalo in New York. I lived in New York for 8 years, or in the US for 8 years, 4 years in New York. And but it's interesting to know that was 1895, but the rural electrification in Ireland didn't happen until well into the 50s, which was almost 60 years later. You know. Interesting, I thought. You know.
They had a lot of wires back in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had electric cars in the 1900s and scooters, and apparently the batteries were a lot more dependable, went a lot longer than the ones they have now.
And we're safe.
You know, I mean, everything's alright, you know. So I'll talk about the free energy the next night. I think you'll find it interesting. There's a way out of what's going on, because fighting the government is never, you know, all they do is bring in more and more laws and, you know.
Thank you very much.